Hey, how's it going? Commander64 here. I do retro and Elite Dangerous related content, and lately we've been focusing on a cockpit build for Elite Dangerous. Click the I at the top right there if you want to follow this build from the beginning.
Okay, what you can see here is the old plan. That is before I realised that I'd miscalculated the size of the circular buttons. They are probably about a third of the size of what they are on this plan, so that has been modified. What you can see here is the new plan, and I guess it was kind of a good thing that those buttons ended up being smaller than I originally had thought, because now I've got room for a lot more buttons. Here you can see I took a bit of scrap hardboard and just tried to fit some buttons in there just to see how big I needed to make the holes, what drill parts I needed to use. And you can also see all the various buttons that I've got here, the switches and the push buttons and all that.
This is the old desk. I've folded it up so it's standing up like this. I previously bodged this piece of wood onto the bottom to stop the keyboard from slipping off. Now I've got room for more buttons. I've cut this longer piece of MDF, drew around the keyboard, I drilled a hole here, and then I used the jigsaw to cut out this shape. And now the keyboard fits nice and snug in here. And this piece of MDF will be bolted to the old desk. If you want to see how I converted this old Commodore 64 into a USB desktop keyboard, click the I at the top right and you can watch that too. It's all part of the cockpit build. And fortunately, as you can see, it's exactly the right height for the ports too and the power. Okay, let's drill. I've got this scrap piece of MDF under here so I don't drill into my table. I've stuck my plan on top with some sellotape and I'm just going to drill straight through the paper. I've got various drill bits here. This 25mm circular drill bit, that's for the large buttons. I've got a 16mm drill bit for the square push buttons. I've got 12mm drill bits for the on and off toggle switches. And this small 8mm drill is for the small switches. We're getting there. We're through. That's the first hole. Done. The holes are cut, and now I'll just do these and I'll come back to you. All the holes are drilled now, looking pretty good. I have had to make a slight alteration. These holes here, I cannot access them. I've had to move them over here, and I'll show you why in a minute. And it's a bit of a bummer because that means now that my hard point and my fire group buttons are grouped with my flight controls and not my weapons. But oh well, we'll get over it. I've also drilled these 8mm holes, which I'm going to use. I'm going to put bolts through them to connect them to the old desk. And if I flip this over, now you see why I couldn't use those two buttons, because this hinge here is in the way and I'd have to drill through that. What can I say? Mistakes were made. I would say I'd improve it on version 2.0, but trust me, almost 2 years of my life, there will be no 2.0. But you can make it if you like. Into the original desk, I've used the largest drill bit to cut these holes. They're kind of access points, but they're mainly, that's where the cables are going to come through. Some of the buttons extend beyond the original desks. That makes it easier. I didn't have to cut extra holes for those ones. So again, we're fitting it over here. So I'll just quickly pop it on now and see if there are any more unforeseen problems before attaching the buttons. And I'll just push this pencil through just to make sure that there's no obstructions or anything. Everything was fine. To make things pretty, I bought this textured vinyl from eBay. I'll try to remember to put a link in the descriptions, but if I forget, just remind me in the comment section. And it kind of fits with the living room colour scheme of copper, grey and teal, though it's more gold than copper. But okay, now I'll lay the desk down onto the textured vinyl and draw around it and draw inside the holes. Apologies for my appearance here. I am in my pyjamas. I'm about to go to bed. I have been doing this whenever I get time to do it. Then I will cut them out. And this was kind of tricky to cut. And I do want to stress that knives and sharps can be dangerous. So please don't use them if you're young or if you're likely to hurt yourself. Ask someone to help you. I really don't want anyone to follow along with these videos and harm themselves, so just do me a favour and don't. Now we'll cut the outline out and stick the vinyl onto the desk. All done. Ooh, shiny. And just to end this particular part of the button box build, I'll stick a few buttons on so you can see how it's going to look. And I think it's going to look pretty sweet. Anyway, that's all for now, folks. Hope you're enjoying your weekend and hope you're enjoying this build and getting lots of ideas of your own from it. Hope to see you in the next part, where we'll probably be busting out a soldering iron for the first time in my life. This is Commander 64 signing off.